Here are the stories for today, October 16, 2020. Malacanang assures the affordability of COVID-19 vaccine. DPWH Secretary Mark Villar enjoys the trust of President Duterte. Workers are assured of getting their 13th month before Christmas. And let us take a look at Negrence's yogurt ice cream with fresh fruits. Good day, I'm William Theo. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. Once available, Filipinos can afford the coronavirus disease vaccine. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque made the remark after President Rodrigo Duterte said it would be ideal for every Filipino to be inoculated with the vaccine. Roque said initial projections show that the price of the vaccine will be inexpensive.
So 20 million initially po ang bibili natin para sa mahihirap at para po sa ating kapulisan at sa ating mga militar and mga frontliners. Hindi naman po ganun kamahal ang estimate natin sa bakuna. Estimate po ni Secretary Dominguez, $10 per dose at kinakailangan 2 dosage. So $20 per person. Roughly, we would need around $12 billion kung ililibre natin lahat ang bakuna. No? Pero I'm confident naman po hindi kinakailangan ilibre lahat kasi marami naman po can afford $20 for vaccine. No?
To buy the vaccines, Roque said the government will borrow from the Philippine International Trading Corporation, Land Bank of the Philippines, and the Development Bank of the Philippines. Roque, meanwhile, shrugged off criticism that the promise of a vaccine has become Duterte's political placebo. He said the president's remarks about vaccine were intended to address Filipinos' pandemic fatigue.
It is based on science. The fact na ang dami na pong nasa third clinical trial means na nandyan na po talaga ang remedyo. There's light at the end of the tunnel. So, hinay-hinay lang po, hang in there, malapit na pong matapos ito.
Malacanang clarifies it is grateful for OCTA research team's recommendations on quarantine levels and will not prevent them from publicizing their inputs. However, it says quarantine classifications are a sensitive matter due to their socio-economic impact, and the government would rather receive it in private to make leeway for national decisions.
Hindi ko po sila sinusupil. Salamat nga po sa kanilang mga ginagawa. Naimbita ko na sila rito. I will invite them again. And if need be, I will invite them again to the palace. Pero ang pakiusap ko lang po, dahil nga po sa mga recommendations naman nila ay tungkol sa classification, i-address nila dun sa tamang institusyon na gagawa ng desisyon sa presidente o sa mga lokal na pamahalaan. Ganyan pong kasensitibo yan. Kasi pag sinabi mong mataas ang COVID sa isang lugar, nagiging political issue rin po yan sa lugar na yan. Para bagang lagot si mayor, no? Lagot si governor. No? So, hindi naman po ganun ang pakay natin, no? Kung bakit tayo nagka-classification. No? Ang pakay naman natin, para pa nga po mapabagal yung pagkalat ng sakit.
Despite allegations of massive corruption in the Department of Public Works and Highways, Malacanang said Public Works Secretary Mark Villar still has the full trust and confidence of President Rodrigo Duterte.
Ay, full trust and confidence po kay Secretary Villar dahil despite the corruption in DPWH na nakadeliver po si Secretary Villar, it helps na mas marami pang pera ang pamilya ni Secretary Villar kaysa sa DPWH. No? Pero aside from that point po, ay hina-highlight lang naman po talaga ni Presidente yung mga paghamon sa natitirang panahon ng kanyang termino. At ang pangako naman po ng Presidente, igugugol niya talaga itong natitirang panahon para labanan ng korupsyon sa lahat ng departamento ng gobyerno. Lalong-lalo na siguro po sa PhilHealth at sa DPWH.
Roque said the president might also create a task force to investigate corruption in DPWH, just like what he did with PhilHealth. Duterte's accusations of rampant corruption within the DPWH came after the Congress started its special sessions into the proposed 4.5 trillion peso national budget for 2021. The DPWH is slated to get 667 billion pesos, a 52% increase from this year's budget. DPWH Secretary Mark Villar said almost 30 contractors have so far been blacklisted as part of its anti-corruption efforts. Meanwhile, Roque lauded Villar for the completion of the Metro Manila Skyway Stage 3 Expressway that connects the southern and northern part of Metro Manila. Villar announced that the 18-kilometer elevated expressway, which links the two major expressways in Luzon, the South Luzon Expressway and North Luzon Expressway, was completed ahead of the October 31 schedule. With Skyway 3, travel from SLEX to NLEX will now only take 20 minutes from the previous 3 hours. The elevated expressway aims to decongest traffic in Metro Manila by providing a diversion road for EDSA and other major roads in Metro Manila.
Congratulations po kay Secretary Mark Villar. Nakumpleto na po ang Metro Manila Skyway Stage 3 Expressway. Ibig sabihin, makukonekta na po ang NLEX at SLEX. Makikita niyo po yan sa video ito. Ibig sabihin po, hindi na dadaan ng EDSA ang manggagaling ng NLEX papunta ng SLEX. At pwede na rin pong daanan yan para doon sa mga tao na babiyahe sa Quezon City na gustong umiwas sa EDSA.
Petroleum activities in the West Philippine Sea will now resume after President Rodrigo Duterte declared force majeure suspension due to WPS dispute. The Department of Energy thanked the President for acting on their recommendation, citing the impending depletion of our natural gas reserve in Malampaya. The DOE said it is imperative to resume exploration, development, and production activities within our exclusive economic zone to ensure continuity of supply of indigenous resources in the country. The DOE has issued a resume to work to the service contractors doing petroleum-related activities in the area. Private sector workers can look forward to a merry holiday season despite the coronavirus disease pandemic as they get their 13th-month pay before Christmas. Labor Secretary Silvestre Bello III said his agency will implement Presidential Decree 851, which provides for the grant of the mandatory benefit.
We will not postpone, we will not defer, and we will not give any exemption to the payment of the 13th-month pay. The law says pay the workers their 13th-month pay on or before December 24. Yan po ang ipapatupad ng Department of Labor.
Meanwhile, labor groups lauded the move of the department, saying it is a victory for workers. Kilusang Mayo Uno Chairperson Elmer Labog said, "The working people are happy and thankful to Labor Secretary Silvestre Bello for breaking the 13th-month pay payment deadlock as it boosts the morale of millions of private sector employees who are struggling amid the health crisis." Trade Union Congress of the Philippines President Raymond Mendoza also lauded Trade Secretary Ramon Lopez for supporting the decision of DOLE and helping troubled businesses by making loan facilities accessible for them. 2 out of 100 Filipinos aged 10 to 69 are current users of drugs. This is according to the results of the 2019 National Household Survey on the Patterns and Trends of Drug Abuse released by the Dangerous Drugs Board. Based on the survey, 6 out of every 100 Filipinos aged 10 to 69 tried drugs at least once in their life. 57% uses cannabis or marijuana, while 35% uses methamphetamine hydrochloride or shabu. For lifetime users, the average age when most of them started trying drugs is 22 years old. Of the current users, most belong to the age group of 18 to 59 years of age. Shabu was seen to be the most well-known at 47.9%, followed by marijuana at 35%. About 65.8% of respondents say they are aware of the government's campaign against drugs. Of those who are aware, 81.6% approves of the campaign. 34.7% of respondents also believe that the current drug situation under the present administration has slightly improved, while 45.5% say it has greatly improved. The 2019 drug survey estimates the current user prevalence rate at 2.05%, significantly lower than the 2018 global estimates of 5.3% published in the World Drug Report 2020. Based on the survey, it can be concluded that the government not only succeeded in flattening the user prevalence rate, but also reversed the trend. The 2019 survey was undertaken by the DDB in partnership with the Department of Social Welfare and Development, Philippine Statistics Authority, and iMetrics Asia Pacific Corporation. The Quezon City government moved the implementation of its no helmet policy. More on this and other news around the metro from Benj Bondok.
The implementation of the no bike helmet policy in Quezon City was moved to October 31. The mandatory wearing of a bike helmet, which was implemented yesterday, drew mixed reactions from its residents. While some approved of its implementation, others say this is not the right time, as many resorted to the use of bicycles as their means of transportation amid the pandemic. The city government said it will ramp up the distribution of free bicycle helmets as part of efforts of the city to help those who cannot afford to buy helmets. Meanwhile, some 750 families residing in Valenzuela City's danger zones are set to move in the Disciplina Village Lingunan, a government housing project for informal settler families. The local government, along with the Department of Human Settlements and Urban Development, has inaugurated the first phase of the third housing settlement project in the city on Thursday. The housing project, which features 22 medium-rise buildings, targets to relocate informal settlers from the city's riverbanks, those under the NGCP's transmission lines, as well as those affected by government projects and natural disasters. In other news, Taguig City is focusing on helping business establishments open safely and responsibly to jumpstart their economy. The city's campaign against COVID-19 can be qualified as a major success as it has attained the lowest number of active cases among the cities in the National Capital Region, having only 19 active cases per 100,000 population. Among the other cities with the lowest active cases per 100,000 population are Muntinlupa, Parañaque, Caloocan, and Las Piñas. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Benj Bondok.
Still to come, DOLE is looking into the Europe as potential new market for displaced OFWs, and evacuated families in Bicol are sent home as weather improves. More on these when the PNA Newsroom continues.
Sa matinding laban natin sa Coronavirus Disease 2019, sugpuin din natin ang pagkalat ng fake news. Huwag magbahagi ng impormasyon na hindi tiyak ang pinagmulan. I-check mabuti ang source ng balita. Kumuha lamang ng impormasyon mula sa mga official channel ng Department of Health. Huwag magpadala sa maling balita, basta't sama-sama at laging handa. Kaya natin to. Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP at ng himpilang ito.
You're still watching the PNA Newsroom. Overseas Filipino workers may soon be deployed in European countries such as Russia, Germany, the United Kingdom, and Eastern Europe. Labor Secretary Sylvestre Bello III said job opportunities are also available locally, especially in the construction industry and business process outsourcing.
Lately, we had a meeting with IBPAC, BPO. They need 30,000 call center agents. So, marami na naman tayo mga OFW na ma-accommodate dyan. But more important than that, Rocky, ay yung livelihood assistance that we will provide them na magne-negosyo na lang sila, bibigyan natin sila ng tulong.
Meanwhile, the Philippine and Chinese governments have agreed to set up a fast lane for smoother two-way personnel exchanges amid the pandemic. The agreement was made between Foreign Affairs Secretary Teodoro Locsin Jr. and Chinese State Councilor and Foreign Minister Wang Yi during Locsin's official trip to China. The Chinese embassy in Manila said the fast lane will facilitate with due safeguards the movement of essential travel by personnel in crucial industries such as business and trade, infrastructure, logistics, production, and technical services between the two countries. China has set up similar fast lanes with the Republic of Korea, Germany, Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar, Singapore, and Vietnam. Malacanang assures that the swab testing of overseas Filipino workers would not be affected by the decision of the Philippine National Red Cross or PNRC to stop conducting tests that are being charged to PhilHealth. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque said the PNRC's decision would hamper the country's testing efforts. However, he noted that there are 112 RT-PCR laboratories and 35 gene expert laboratories which are capable of testing COVID-19 samples besides the Research Institute for Tropical Medicine or RITM. He said private laboratories could also handle testing of samples in airports and seaports. In a statement, the Red Cross said it would stop conducting PhilHealth-funded tests after the state insurer failed to settle its outstanding balance of 930.99 million pesos. National Policy Against COVID-19 Chief Implementer Cardito Galvez Jr. meanwhile said the National Task Force on COVID-19, PhilHealth, and PNRC are already trying to resolve the issue. Local disaster councils in Bicol have sent home about 127 families in various evacuation centers in Camarines Norte, Camarines Sur, and Sorsogon. This after the weather condition improved following the onslaught of Typhoon Ophel. Ophel hit Bicol on Wednesday, resulting in flooding in some areas due to heavy rains and swollen rivers. Among the inundated areas were 22 villages in 15 towns of Camarines Sur and 5 villages in the town of Daet in Camarines Norte. The Office of Civil Defense said villagers that sought refuge were from areas prone to flooding and landslides. Decampment is still ongoing in villages in the towns of Libmanan, Canaman, Pasacao, and Lupi in Camarines Sur. Meanwhile, the Philippine Coast Guard has lifted the suspension of sea travel in the region. Farmers in Legazpi City are likely to earn more from selling milled rice instead of harvested palay, according to agriculture officials. Here is our report.
The City Agricultural Office or CAO has advised the over 2,000 registered farmers in Legazpi City to sell rice instead of harvested palay to earn more. CAO officer in charge Sheila Na said some farmers do not sell their harvested palay but mill it into rice which they sell to households and government employees. This way, they get 2,000 pesos per sack of 50 kilograms or 40 pesos per kilogram of rice, compared to the 19 pesos they receive per 1 kilogram of dry and clean palay. NAS also encouraged more farmers to enlist themselves in the registry system for basic sector in agriculture so they could avail of benefits from the government. In Nueva Ecija, the Department of Agriculture encouraged seed companies to promote hybrid rice technology to farmers. Regional Executive Director Crispo Bautista Jr. cited hybrid seeds as one of the reasons the country has sufficient food. Nueva Ecija, which uses hybrid seeds, recorded an output of over 770,000 metric tons in terms of the volume of palay production in the second quarter of this year. The DA on Thursday held the Hybrid Rice Derby Field Day and Farmers Forum at Central Luzon State University to promote the importance of using hybrid rice seeds as part of the Rice Resiliency Project of the Plant program. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Chris Crismundo.
In our business news, small and medium businesses or SMBs that have maximized the use of digital technology are seen to have further benefits in revenue and increased productivity. Respondents of the 2020 Asia-Pacific SMB Digital Maturity Study in the Philippines acknowledge the crucial role of digital transformation in the businesses. About 30% of SMBs in the study said they are accelerating digitalization in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. 62% of the respondents also seek digital transformation to launch new products and services. Cisco Philippines Managing Director Kari Ilagan said Philippine SMBs are eyeing improved customer experience and service delivery through digitalization. Ilagan noted that enterprises should learn to maximize the use of technology, especially now that most people rely on it to continue their businesses. Up next, more tour guides are needed in Ilocos as it welcomes the influx of tourists. And let us take a look at Negrense's yogurt ice cream with fresh fruits. The PNA Newsroom returns after these reminders.
Tandaan ang tamang paraan ng paghuhugas at paglilinis ng kamay upang makaiwas sa iba't ibang karamdaman. Basain ng tubig ang mga kamay at sabunin. Unang sabunin ang mga palad at ang likod ng mga kamay. Kuskusin na maigi ang pagitan ng mga daliri at maging ang mga kuko. Isunod ang pagitan ng mga hinlalaki at kuskusin ng paikot ang mga dulo ng mga daliri sa magkabilang palad. Banlawang mabuti ang mga kamay sa malinis na tubig at patuyuin ang mga kamay gamit ang single-use towel o air dryer. Basta't sama-sama at laging handa, kaya natin to! Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP at ng himpilang ito.
Two medical studies have suggested that people with blood type O may be at lower risk of contracting the novel coronavirus. A study from Denmark conducted based on information of nearly 500,000 individuals tested for COVID-19 found that blood group O was associated with a decreased risk of coronavirus infection. The study also showed that individuals with blood types AB and AB were also at higher risk of exhibiting thrombosis and cardiovascular diseases, which are significant conditions among COVID-19 patients. Similar results were found by a Canadian medical study based on data from intensive care unit patients in 6 metropolitan Vancouver hospitals. The number of COVID-19 cases in the world stood around 38.5 million and deaths close to 1.1 million on Thursday, according to Johns Hopkins University data. Travel and tourism-related activities can now operate at 50% capacity under general community quarantine at limited capacity. In Ilocos Norte, the province has reopened its borders to tourists to jumpstart the local economy. Provincial Tourism Officer Ianre Raquel of the Ilocos Norte Tourism Office said healthy tourists from Luzon are welcome, provided they follow all the guidelines for the first phase of the reopening of tourism. Tourists who plan to visit the province would have to be pre-registered using a web-based tourist registration system developed by the Mariano Marcos State University and book in a hotel, both accredited by the DOT and the provincial government. Tourists must also be assisted by an accredited tour agency that will be made responsible for monitoring the tourists and manage their itinerary. Before entry at the border, tourists are required to secure a travel authority, medical certificate, accomplish a health declaration form not earlier than 48 hours before departure for Ilocos Norte using the Stay In app, and show a negative rapid antigen test within 48 hours before arrival at the border checkpoint. Environment Undersecretary Benny Antiporda has apologized to the University of the Philippines Marine Science Institute, or UPMSI, over his remark when he branded them as paid hacks or bayaran. In an interview on Thursday, Antiporda said he was emotionally carried away by the issue with the UPMSI, where it criticized the overlaying of Manila Bay shoreline with crushed dolomite for beautification. Antiporda said the DENR and the UPMSI have been partners for a long time and that the agency has been paying the institute for their services like consultation, research, and capacity building. He also assured the UPMSI that the DENR is doing its job. Laura David, director of UPMSI, accepted the apology. Meanwhile, presidential spokesperson Harry Roque disagreed with Antiporda's remark that experts from the UPMSI have no right to criticize the Manila Bay White Beach project. Roque noted that although Antiporda has since apologized for his statement, assisting the government is part of the UP Charter or Republic Act 9500. For its part, the UP Geographic Society called for Antiporda's resignation over his remark, calling it unacceptable for a government official. Several students from indigenous peoples communities in Agusan del Sur have received scholarship grants to help them get by with their education during the pandemic. Jennifer Gaetano has the story.
In this time of crisis brought about by the COVID-19 pandemic, the indigenous people's mandatory representatives in the municipality of Rosario, Agusan del Sur extended support to the IP youths in the different barangays through the scholarship grant and financial assistance under the Tribo Ko Mahalko program. This is in time with the celebration of the Indigenous Peoples' Rights Act or IPRA this month of October. Apart from the 30 high school students from Barangay Poblacion who benefited from the said program, more than 70 students from Barangay Santa Cruz of the municipality have also acquired the same scholarship. This initiative of the IPMRs has greatly reduced the parents' financial burden in paying their children's tuition fees.
Wala na may bayaran sa eskwelahan. Salamat kayo nga sa naka-apelid sila. Dako ko pagpasalamat sa nag-sponsor ani.
Melissa and Annabelle, who are among the student beneficiaries, were thankful for the opportunity given to them.
Maabot na ako kung pangandoy nga may kong doktor mo. Dako kay nigtabang para sa amoa, labi na karon sa panahon sa pandemic.
Barangay Santa Cruz was the pilot area for Tribo Ko Mahalko program through IPMR Emiliano Pogosa. The said program also caters to deserving youths who belong to poverty line.
Dili man lang kung educational ang among gisuportahan natoy na laboral assistance, medical assistance.
The NCIP Caraga also lauded the effort of the IPMR in Rosario.
Sana yung IPMR is patuloy yung kanilang partnership linkages and networking sa ating mga LGs and other government line agencies.
For the PNA Newsroom, I am Jennifer Peña Gaetano of the Philippine Information Agency Caraga.
As Lapu-Lapu City in Cebu prepares to open its doors to tourists, Mayor Jernard Chan on Thursday assured visitors that all destinations and amenities in the historical island city are COVID-19 free. Chan said the city's hotel and resort workers and boatmen have undergone RT-PCR testing as the city anticipates the reopening of tourism activities through the Balik Turismo program. Chan also said motorboats allowed to operate were directed to follow protocols such as procedures in conducting contact tracing, sanitation, and limiting the number of passengers on board. The Tourism, Cultural, and Historical Affairs Commission, or TCHAC, said on Thursday that key players in the city supported the tourism program by having their workers undergo swab tests. TCHAC earlier unveiled the Balik Turismo Travel Fair happening on October 17, which offers big discounts on staycations at hotels and resorts in Mactan. Baguio City may ease its tourist restrictions to allow more visitors to enter the city. Mayor Benjamin Magalong said they are adjusting the entry protocols of the tourism bubble, which initially allows residents from Pangasinan, La Union, Ilocos Sur, and Ilocos Norte. They are also looking at the possibility of allowing the entry of public buses and utility vans from Region 1. Based on the data from the Baguio Visita online portal, nearly 20,000 have logged in on the website from October 1 to 13. Out of the number, there were 2,050 who requested to visit the city. Only 4 visitors were approved who arrived in the city on October 2 and October 11. Magalong said several factors that affect tourist arrivals include transportation and the requirements such as staying in a hotel and availing of a tour operator. Negrenses can now taste more of a yogurt ice cream with fresh fruits made with locally produced ingredients. Negros Occidental's version of fruit mix with yogurt is now available daily at the Provincial Veterinary Office in Bacolod City. This treat was originally sold during the Panaad sa Negros Festival every summer in the previous years. The yogurt is part of the line of Avance Negrense dairy products produced by the Provincial Livestock Breeding Center and Dairy Farm in Barangay La Granja, La Carlota City. Other products include fresh milk and yogurt in variant flavors such as chocolate, ube, buko pandan, strawberry, and mango. Here's another look at today's biggest stories. Malacanang assures the affordability of COVID-19 vaccine. DPWH Secretary Mark Villar enjoys the trust of President Duterte. Workers are assured of getting their 13th month before Christmas. And let us take a look at Negrense's yogurt ice cream with fresh fruits. Thank you for watching another episode of the PNA Newsroom. To check more news content, visit our webpage or head onto the Philippine News Agency's Facebook and Twitter accounts. For more stories about the government and how it serves Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. We are shown on the pages of the PCOO and its attached agencies. Also, watch us on television on PTV4 and IBC 13. And today is very special for all of us at the Philippine News Agency as the PNA Newsroom is celebrating its 3rd anniversary. And on this day, we would like to say thanks and give much appreciation to all of our viewers who have supported us all of these 3 years. We hope to see you in the many more years to come. Thank you very much. And that's your daily dose of the biggest stories that you need to know. From the PNA Newsroom, I am William Theo. Good day. Stay safe, everyone. Have a great weekend.